Hello and welcome to This Is Metal with Tom Collier. We have a very special guest coming back to the show, Robert Sarzo, the now ex-guitar player from Hurricane. So that's a great place to start, Robert. You want to tell us in your own words why you are no longer with the band?
Okay, I want to clear up any confusion and misunderstanding.
Sure. That's why you're here, right?
I did not leave Hurricane,
Okay.
and I will continue performing in Hurricane,
Okay.
but not with Tony Cavazzo.
Okay.
I will be performing songs from the Reconnected, Take What You Want, and Over the Edge album.
Okay, great. That's good to hear.
So I never left.
Okay.
So
okay.
all I wrote was what I have here, that it was social media, that it was a pleasure to work on the last Hurricane album, titled Reconnected, as a co-producer, a composer, a performer, and arranger on all the songs. And I have parted ways with Tony Cavazzo and Mike Hansen. I am looking forward to collaborating with like-minded creative writers and artists on future projects, which is, something that I always do. I write with other people because I've been involved in writing for films and, just writing with other people. I love writing all kinds of music. So that's what's going on.
So let me ask you, Robert. So to just clear it up even more, correct me if I'm misunderstanding. So you're going to perform these songs still. Now, are you going to also go by the name Hurricane? Or are you going to work with other musicians and just be performing the songs?
I did not leave Hurricane.
Okay, I got you.
Right. So Hurricane is a conscience. Okay.
Okay.
So to clear everything up.
Yeah.
It's a tag. It's a label.
Sure.
Okay. The tone of the record, of the guitar sound. And I've been reading all the reviews, and
sure.
I'm really curious because I worked on this album for years. And I will get into that in a little minute.
Okay, sure.
So, the sound of Hurricane, from the old sound from the 80s to the modern sound.
Sure.
That was my conscience.
Yeah.
That was something as a producer, co-producer, that I was developing. I was thinking about it, put a lot of thought into it, how to recreate the old sound and also make it sound modern.
That's great. That's very important to do. Yeah.
It's just formulas. I've been studying songwriting for many years, and these are things that you can actually figure out. But again, I'm still going to continue as performing as Hurricane.
Okay, that answers that. Now let me ask you, Robert, if I can, because we loved having the entire band on the last time, and maybe there was stuff going on, but you guys really fooled us, because when you came on the first time of the show, you guys seemed very tight as a band. And one of the things I got to tell you, Robert, I found most entertaining about that interview was the fact that you were driving around somewhere. It looked like the back lot of a studio or something, but I was just so entertained by that. You're driving in your car and you're doing the interview. Anyways,
yes,
it was a real fun interview.
I was at on the I think it was the 405 freeway.
Oh, see, I couldn't even tell it. I'm like, wow, this guy is driving and doing the interview. He's a fun guy.
In LA, we always tend to be driving on the road, so we have to utilize time.
Sure. Well, we made it interesting. That's the point I'm trying to make. Tom, I don't want to take away the whole show, so what do you want to ask Robert?
Sure. So you didn't leave Hurricane, which we understand, and you'll be performing as Hurricane. Who will be performing with you as Hurricane? That's the question I have.
Well,
what's that?
Tony and I, from the four, but Tony and I, we were the founding members.
Sure.
So Mike was not the founding member. Danny was not the founding member.
Yeah.
So I have people already lined up to be performing with me, which you will be recognizing some of their faces.
Okay.
It comes out.
Nice.
So as a producer, this is what I do.
Sure.
The sound that you hear in the record, even on the song Disconnected, all those orchestration, that's me bowing the guitar.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
That's
So it's
all.
kind of funny because this morning I got in my car and I turned on Hair Nation and Hurricane comes on.
Which song?
Which song? What did I tell you? I actually took a picture of it. Oh God. I was surprised. It was just funny. As soon as I turned it on, it says, "Oh, Hurricane playing." I was like, "Wow." I told Jason what it was.
Was it on to you? Or,
What is that?
on to you or something like that?
Yes, I'm on to you.
I'm on to you, yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
now, let me ask you. Now, was that the one that I do the Miami rock vibe? That
It's when it has the na-nas in it. Yes, it's got
Yeah,
na
yeah,
na 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 na.
Yeah, I produced that song in a more dance feel.
Yes,
So I set the click to a certain time
yes.
to start tracking because I tracked all the songs in the album.
Sure.
Okay, nice.
Okay, so I did it on Pro Tools. Everything was done remotely.
Oh, nice.
Everything. So
Yeah.
that song, I don't know. I'm curious to see if that was the new version of I'm On To You or the original version.
The original. It was the original version of it. It was the
Okay,
original.
okay.
Yes,
I
yes.
was hoping that was the new one because the new one's got a really cool feel to it.
Yep.
You know, but yeah, I definitely took that song and you know the obvious thing that all the other rock bands do nowadays that they take one of the biggest hits and they you know recut it. But I didn't want to do the same thing,
Of course,
the same vibe, and, you know, because the original one Bob Ezrin played organ on it, which is great, you know. So this one I just layered guitars and I put a kind of a Hendrix kind of feel to it, but a Miami funk groove to it.
Nice.
And throughout the whole song, it's got that,
yeah.
you know, so it just feels good when you're playing live and you're moving to it, you know. It just
And Robert, how much of that has to do with your Cuban roots?
a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I grew up with dance music,
Sure.
you know, my first conscience of hearing music in Havana, because I live right in the city, right a block away from the ocean.
Wow.
Was polyrhythms, people downstairs playing rudiments on their probably 1952, you know, Chevy vintage cars, which is still running over there.
Yeah.
But they were playing, you know, on the hot cabs and all that. So that's in my soul, you know.
Sure.
So I always play with the swing. I play on the click, but it always has to push and pull swing, which is very danceable. It's cool. It's very cool. So and that's one of the things that I always love about Led Zeppelin. John Bonham, he had that jazz,
Latin,
got that really cool, but funk, almost like a funk feel to it. So yeah, so you know, this whole thing actually started. The album gets completed. The pressing the record. As you know, the record drops August 25th.
Sure.
Yeah. All the vinyls are starting to sell and we're doing great interviews, you know. That's like a great vibe. So our agent hits us up and he says, "Hey, I got you a gig at the Rock Timber Music Festival." 2 weeks after the record drops.
Wow, that's impressive. Wow. Yeah.
Great timing, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's what I felt. So everybody in the band said, "Yeah, I'll do it." Tony said no.
Wow. That's interesting. You know, and again, like I told Tony, I'm not here to take sides, but I'll be honest, Robert, you agreed to come on, so I really appreciate that because you know you're willing to tell your side. He's welcome to come on anytime he wants, but kind of the vibe I got from him, which I was really surprised because we really enjoyed having the band on. I told him we were supportive of everybody. We love a record, and his vibe was kind of like because I was announcing that we'd read the news that you were no longer working together, and that he told me that his response back was first he told me, well. We got a couple festival dates lined up. My brother Carlos is going to be playing with us. I took that to mean that, you know, Carlos was now in the band. he didn't tell me it was off the record, so I put a little update up on the page, and then he responded back, it seems like you're waving the flags of drama, which I didn't really understand. But again, he's welcome to come on. I don't think he's interested, and that's fine. But we're glad that you're willing to come on and tell your story, and that's what we're doing today. And I definitely agree with you that I don't understand that, just even from a business point of view, because the record really kicks ass. You guys come back after 20 years, so I don't get that. Yeah.
You got to do the record, and then you got to promote immediately. And to me, that is like a perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
To do a big festival with already pre-sold tickets, thousands and thousands and thousands of tickets already sold.
Yeah.
To do all the interviews while you're there, and this will have been our second time.
Yeah.
Back at the festival. The first one was in 2021, and I was still wearing a mask.
Yeah. You remember that? Yeah.
I remember, and I felt really odd being on stage without a mask.
Yeah.
Because of COVID, and people were still kind of like,
not sure.
Some were wearing masks, some weren't, but of course I took it off on stage.
Of course,
I was really being very careful.
Cautious, yeah.
And but then a month later, Tony announced at a Zoom meeting that I'm not doing any live shows with Hurricane.
Yeah.
So after that, that's why I wrote what I wrote. That my comment, I wasn't going to work because priorities weren't the same.
Sure.
I mean, if he doesn't want to play out, or if he wants to, whatever, it's like I can't. I put too much work into this record,
especially coming back after 20 years, right? I mean,
and I'll tell you. So, Under Pressure.
Love that. Yeah, I love the video. Man.
Okay, people have been writing. I read all the comments and all the reviews, and I want to now actually explain why we did certain songs.
Sure.
So, and I think I've mentioned in some other interviews as well. So, Under Pressure, when I was working, doing music work for films, one of the companies asked me to do a cover of Under Pressure.
Okay, yeah.
So I covered the song, but it didn't get in the movie. So I saved it on my hard drive for years. Yeah. And so when we were doing the record, we were like, wow, everybody loves that song. We love the song. I'm a big fan of Bowie and Queen. I mean, I've seen Queen back in the day when I was a very young man.
Wow.
So obviously, it's like, I'm a big fan. I got really, really produce this to be really cool. And don't disrespect Queen or Bowie.
Yeah.
For God's sake, they're my idols. And
there you go.
So I tried my hardest to make it, sound really good. And I felt the band delivered really well. So, but that was done about maybe 11 years ago. It was recorded.
Wow, that long ago. Wow.
We've had different singers. We had originally that I'm trying to think back. We had Andrew Freeman sang on it.
Wow.
Okay. I think it was him that sang on it. And he's one of my favorite singers, by the way.
Sure.
And when Tony and I got back together, he was our first guy that, we were, we did some shows with him. And he's great. I love the way he sings. He's great. Love him. And then I had a song from our solo record, and we all decided, let's do that. Let's do that song. It's called "Don't Change Your Love."
Okay. Yeah.
So we started playing that song as well too. "Don't Change Your Love." So we rearranged, the song, changed the part. So these are songs that actually, that solo record was recorded back in the 90s with Rudy Rels. He was my singer and writing partner.
Okay.
And we wrote the whole album.
Wow.
Now, Edison Girl is a ballad. The original one's a ballad.
Okay.
Okay. But, you can't have too many ballads.
Yeah. I got it.
I'm trying to figure out, okay, I need more songs for the album. And it's not like we can just start rehearsing here because, everybody's living in different places.
Sure. Yeah.
So at this time, we were working with Chad Cancino, our singer.
Okay.
And so we came up with the recording of Don't Change Your Love, but Andrew Freeman sang on the original of that one,
Wow.
the remake of that one. And it sounded great. So I think we've had, let's see, we had Andrew sang on Michael Mara, also another singer, sang on Under Pressure, Chad Cancino, and now Daniel Schumann also sang. So we've had all these, different singers sing on it. Now, my co-producer, Andy Zuckerman.
Okay.
Also, we just kept changing different singers and worked on it. And so, yeah, this album goes way back.
Way back. Wow.
Way back. And, that's why I cannot just, not do the songs that I've been working on for years.
It would be silly not to. I mean, especially like coming back after 20 years, and then, could you imagine just and it's doing. People are just loving the album. They're responding it too. So I'm glad to hear that, Robert. So let me ask you too. Is this going to be kind of like LA Guns? Are going to be two versions? Have you guys? Because I know you and Tony, as you say, were founding members. So I imagine there must be a co-ownership or a partnership. How can you get into that at all?
If they want to do the Tony version, I'll do the Robert version.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I want to promote the album. I'm proud of the album.
Maybe you could be the touring version, right?
What's that?
You could be the touring version, the live version.
Yeah. Another song also I wanted to talk about, because I've been reading on some of the reviews, Wishing Well.
Okay.
Wishing Well is basically a positive mental message for children and adults, to follow your dreams.
Nice.
It's a dreamy song. It's like, go to your wishing well in your state of mind, your conscience.
I love that. Wow.
And keep dreaming and keep working for whatever you want. And it's not an acoustic guitar.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing. Wow.
It's a ukulele.
Wow. I love that.
I wrote it and recorded it with this fine instrument.
Wow.
Yeah, I used the concert, which is this one, and I used a soprano, and it's got a beautiful tone.
Oh wow, very Latin-esque. I love that.
And so I had Tony used a Sawtooth, the Rudy Sarzo model, acoustic fretless bass. Wow. And in my head, I wanted to do a cello. If I had the budget, I would have probably used an orchestra.
Sure.
And arranged it so I can have the cello and the violins and which I might do later on.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyhow, Tony played the the bass kind of like a cello, very cool. So that's why that song is in there, and it reminded me of something that the Beatles did. That, remember that song, Close Your Eyes and say,
yeah.
Good night, sleep, the sweet, sweet dream for me. I remember listening to the vinyl, and that was the last song on the vinyl.
Wow.
So that's why I'm like, I want to put that song to be the last one, so it's kind of a dreamy song.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what the song is about. It's supposed to be a dream.
Wow, you're living the dream. And I love how you talk about being so involved, not just with the guitar playing, but the songwriting and the production of the album and how you sequence the songs. That's I guess a lot more goes into putting a record together than people even realize.
Yeah, I did a lot of the writing because everybody seemed to have been busy except Daniel Schumann. So we got to do a lot of the core writing, especially on Reconnected and You and I, and What's the other one? I got the album right here.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and Disconnected, yeah. Boy, Blind Love. It was interesting because it was a journey.
Sure.
And what I would do is a lot of the tracks, except Under Pressure and what was the other one? Under Pressure and Don't Change Your Love. Everything else was recorded, in separate places. So I would start the sessions on my Pro Tools, and I would just, put a click and put a drum machine loop, and then I will be, either writing, with Daniel, and that's what I will be sending. So I will have to start the session with the tempo, and then just get a feel. But when you do that, you got to imagine the band playing live, because it's got to have a swing. You don't want to just be playing like on the click.
Sure,
So yeah, everything was done in that motion. It wasn't that we were all in one room and they go, hey, let's just go and rock out.
Well, it sounds like you were. Again, modern technology. I love the fact that it sounds like you were. Yeah.
And I'm glad it did, because that was one of the things that I wanted to make it sound live. And a lot of people are doing that nowadays.
Sure.
We didn't invent this formula of doing it.
And like you said, not everybody lives down the street from each other, right? So you got to do that. Yeah. Hey,
so
Robert, excuse me, Robert. I can't believe we've been doing this 30 minutes. So let's take like a 10-minute break, and we'll come back. And when we do, use the second link I send you. Okay.
Okay.
We don't want to cut you off. We're getting into some great stories here. Okay.
All right, brother.
Take care. We'll be so we'll be back in 10 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
That's good. Bye.